you don't think these boots are for walking, you're flat wrong, Mr. President. And you send the state police to get me, hell's coming to visit you personally.
That comment made by Senator Brian Boquist in a 2019 legislative hearing. He later told the media state police should, quote, send heavily armed bachelors to arrest him. The comments prompted Oregon Senate Committee on Conduct to require he give 12 hours notice before showing up to the Capitol. Today, they rescinded that.
And if you remember, this all came about after Governor Kate Brown and Senate President Peter Courtney threatened to have Republicans arrested over the 2019 walkouts. Katu's Christina Giardinelli sat in on today's hearing. She joins us live in Salem. And Christina, Boquist filed a lawsuit about this as well, right?
Yeah, he did. The lawsuit claims essentially that the committee violated his constitutional rights to his First Amendment freedom of speech by essentially retaliating against him for that. The committee made it clear during today's hearing that they are not walking back that initial 2019 decision. Simply put, they say those sanctions are no longer needed. A first of its kind 2019 sanction against Oregon Senator Brian Boquist, requiring him to give 12 hours notice before showing up to the Oregon Capitol, has been lifted. The restriction was imposed unanimously by the Senate Committee on Conduct after comments Boquist made following the 2019 Republican walkouts. This week, that same committee rescinded the requirement on a 3-1 vote. Senator Floyd Prasowski is the committee co-chair.
At this point, the safety measures are not necessary or needed.
He says Boquist has complied with the requirement so far.
There has not been any reported violations of the requirement. Further, Senator Boquist has not been denied or asked to leave the Capitol.
This comes as legal action Boquist filed against the Senate President, Conduct Committee, and legislative staff is still pending. The lawsuit claims the safety requirements imposed were unconstitutional because they were retaliating against him for exercising his First Amendment rights. The lawsuit, initially dismissed by a Portland district court, was reinstated by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Despite initiating the motion to rescind restrictions, Prasowski says he believes the committee acted within its rights.
Committee acted on July 8th, 2019, under the rules that we were working under, and believe we do, in fact, have the authority to, one, implement the recommendations that were made on that day.
I just recently made the decision to close my Central Eastside business the Tuesday before Thanksgiving after my 15th break-in.
Tonight, Portland business owners had an opportunity to air their concerns about safety with city leadership. The Central Eastside Industrial Council held a panel discussion to talk about how the city can help make the Central Eastside safer. K2's Francis Lynn has that story.
We deal daily with feces, human, on our shoes. We deal with break-ins, we deal with assaults, we deal with cars that get broken into. This afternoon we had an explosion around the corner from us. Fire everywhere.
Dozens of business owners and community members showed up at the Eastside Exchange Ballroom this evening to issue a call to action to city leadership. The topic, crime in Central Eastside Portland.
Really within the last 6 months, the crime in our area has ramped up dramatically.
And business owners say the crime is pushing them to make tough decisions, like CEO of Salt and Straw Kim Malik, who says she's thinking of moving the headquarters out of Portland.
We've had employees who had a gun in their face on their way into work, and explosions outside of our facility, wiping out power, and just making our team feel really scared.
Panel speakers included Mayor Ted Wheeler and Portland Police's Captain James Crooker. When asked specifically about what they're doing to lower crime.
So what we're doing at the local level, the piece that we are responsible and accountable for, is increasing the number of police officers we have on the streets. The captain was modest. We actually have hired 117 police personnel year to date this year.
And while Captain Crooker says their entertainment detail has helped lower the number of shootings in Old Town.
But we are still seeing a record amount of shootings overall. Why is that? And is there anything you're doing to help lower that number?
I look at the shooting data on a regular basis. I see the reports every week, and there is movement in the shootings. It's not just a reduction in the shootings, It's addressing all the criminal conditions that lead to crime.
And after this meeting, business owners say they do feel like things are heading in a good direction.
I'm feeling really hopeful after this meeting.
This is the first time in a very long time where I felt like there's been productive conversation. We need to make sure that we're all contributing to building Portland into what it can be, I think, which is the greatest city on earth.
2022 Representative Janelle Bynum had tried to get a bill passed that would have forgiven student loan debt. It didn't pass that session, but she says in the upcoming 2023 session, she plans to bring it back. Officials say a shortage in public defenders is causing a crisis within Oregon's public safety system because there are not enough attorneys for people who can't afford them. Representative Janelle Bynum says this is going to be one of her main focuses in next year's legislative session.
We're letting people who have been accused of crimes off, and we're not giving victims their day in court.
Bynum previously tried to get a bill passed to forgive $25,000 in student loan debt for every year of service as an Oregon public defender.
You had to have a 3-year service agreement, essentially, but it could go up to $200,000 in repayment.
Tara Haravel is a contracted public defender with the state. She says she makes $105 an hour, which also has to cover overhead.
If you don't have the money, you're not going to be able to do the work to do public defense or other kind of nonprofit work. You won't be able to live.
She estimates at the end of the day, her take home is about half of the contract pay. She says the increasing cost of tuition is not helping.
With today's law school tuitions, it chases out many people.
It's something Bynum wants to tackle again. She says the main reason it failed in 2022 was because of money it appropriated from the budget.
We had requested $25 million.
Why do you think that it will make it through in a year where there's a recession predicted?
So public safety is very important to Oregonians. They told us that in the elections.